We have got bombshells for you today. Hopefully, your home functions as a bomb shelter, at least for ideology and principle. I'm Randall Terry. Welcome to Voice of Resistance. Is he tanned, rested, and ready?
Those who forsake the law praise the wicked. Those who uphold the law resist them. Welcome to the Voice of Resistance. Here's your host, Randall Terry.
Hi, friend. It's good to be back with you, and I appreciate you sticking with us through all of our shows. We ran some reruns while we visited family and took care of some family issues, and hopefully you were benefited by them. I'm going to talk to you today about John Kasich, about Donald Trump, about Ted Cruz, Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders. Yes, but we're going to let you see things today that you're not seeing in other places. Let's just start with John Kasich. Let's watch. In fact, you know what we'll do? We're going to throw John Kasich under the bus. Play that 60-second spot.
I would like anyone who is listening to consider some thoughts that I paraphrase from the words of German pastor Martin Niemöller. You might not care if Donald Trump says Muslims must register with their government because you're not one. And you might not care if Donald Trump says he's going to round up all the Hispanic immigrants because you're not one. And you might not care if Donald Trump says it's okay to rough up black protesters because you're not one. And you might not care if Donald Trump wants to suppress journalists because you're not one. But think about this. If he keeps going and he actually becomes president, he might just get around to you. And you better hope that there's someone left to help you.
All right, so there you go. A former Vietnam POW. That's gut-wrenching right there. And he's quoting Martin Niemöller. Now, for those of you who don't know the quote, Martin Niemöller, by the way, he was a submarine captain in World War I, was considered a war hero to the Germans, became a Lutheran pastor, and during World War II, he opposed Hitler. He was thrown into prison as Hitler's personal prisoner and spent almost the entire war in prison, survived, and then when he came out, he wrote a book called Guilt and Hope. And that book, if you get a chance to read it, you can go online and read it. That's where the quote, the famous quote comes from that says, when they came for the trade unionists, I didn't say anything because I wasn't a trade unionist. When they came for the communists, I didn't say anything because I wasn't a communist. When they came for the Jews, I didn't say anything because I was a Jew. When they came for the Catholics, I didn't say anything because I was a Catholic. And when they came for me, came for us, there was no one left to speak up. All right? Very prescient, very genius an analogy of when it is time to speak up for someone. And guess what? John Kasich, who, by the way, paid for that ad that you saw, he got it completely wrong. Okay? He got it completely wrong. 100% wrong. To show you what I mean by him getting it wrong, I want to run the first 17 seconds of that one commercial so that you get the gist of what I'm saying. In fact, you know what? Yeah, run the 17 seconds. Go ahead.
Donald Trump is getting battered from all sides this morning.
Dropping a political bombshell, telling Chris Matthews in an MSNBC town hall if abortion was banned, the woman who gets one should be punished.
Be determined. It will. Well, it'll have to be determined.
For a young woman who finds herself pregnant.
It will have to be determined.
All right. Please hear me, okay? And I'm. Some of you are going to do some serious soul searching after I'm done saying what I'm going to say. When child killing, abortion as it's euphemistically called, when child killing is made illegal again, there must be a criminal punishment for anyone who takes the woman to kill her baby, for the abortionist who attempts to or succeeds in killing her baby, and for the woman. Period. If it's murder, if it's a crime, there has to be a punishment. Take away the punishment for theft. Take away the punishment for murder. Take away the punishment for sexual assaults against women or against children. And what do you think you're going to have? Does anyone think that the number of those sexual assaults would stay the same? Does anyone think that the number of those murders or thefts would stay the same? Does anyone think that those numbers would go down? No. The numbers for those crimes would skyrocket. The purpose of punishment in civil law, in criminal law, is to suppress evil acts through the fear of justice. That's it. That's why we have criminal punishments attached to certain crimes. All crimes are sins, but not all sins are crimes. Okay? So there are certain sins that people do that we don't have criminal punishment for. But you had better believe that there should be, that there must be, that there will be criminal punishments for people who kill babies, like there was up until Roe versus Wade. There were criminal punishments. So what John Kasich has done, this evildoer, this man is an evildoer. He is a treacherous Catholic. Believe me, the Catholic Church teaches, John Paul II taught in Humanae Vitae clearly that there must be a criminal punishment attached to the murder of babies by abortion because it is murder. That is what it means to be pro-life. And someone who says that they are pro-life but is opposed to a criminal punishment for those who seek to procure the murder of an innocent baby, they are either a liar or a coward because they don't have the guts to say the truth. If you own a business and would like to advertise on our program, please contact us. We are currently seen on over 130 television stations from coast to coast. We air at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then all times are local. We have a lot of reach, friend, and this is an opportunity at a great price for you to get your product or your service in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people. Also, if there's something that's important to you and you'd like to have a month where you just say thank you to this ministry or promote a certain ministry or a certain cause, contact us. Our rates are incredibly affordable. You'd be surprised. And you, again, can reach into hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of homes. We're currently seen possibly in over 30 million homes. So give us a call, give us an email, and we'll put a commercial up for you. When I was out of pocket watching the news transpire, the Wisconsin primary, Donald Trump talking about women being punished, and I was wishing that we could do this show. And here we are doing the show. No pro-life groups came to Donald Trump's defense. Not one. Not one. Why? Well, there's only a few options. All right. The motivation would be, I was busy. Another motivation would be, I hate Trump and I don't want him to win. I don't want to be associated with Trump because it might affect my donor base. I don't want to say publicly that Donald Trump got it right. That you, in fact, must have a criminal punishment if a baby is murdered. So someday this tape might be played just for someone to try and throw it in my face. Listen to me. I'm being consistent. I'm being consistent. Well, what should the punishment be? That'll end up being something for either the federal government to decide if it's a uniform law for all 50 states and American territories, or if each state individually has a say in what the punishment will be. But believe me, okay, prior to Roe versus Wade, and prior to the liberalization of the laws against child killing, just prior to Roe versus Wade, It was a criminal act in all 50 states with criminal punishment attached. Okay? Why? Well, because to protect innocent human life requires the force of law. And the force of law is the fear of punishment. So when Chris Matthews goes, well, are you going to ever pay a fine? Listen, whatever it is, part of why people don't commit crimes today is fear of punishment or fear of bad press. Do you know how many people that we know? Think about this. Yes, you, Bobby Sue, you might even go, all right, I'm not going to say that's unfair. I was going to say that she might go in and take just pilfer something from Walmart, but she's above that. But there's a lot of people who would take something, but for the fact that they don't want their name in the blotter. They don't want their name in that little area of the newspaper that shows who did what, who was arrested, who was booked, who was charged. In other words, it's not just the fear of punishment, it's the fear of shame. It's the fear of embarrassment or disgrace or disgracing the family. That's why many people don't commit crimes. Ladies, men, how many times have you thought, I would kill that man, I would kill him, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison, he's just not worth it. I'm joking, but there is truth in it. There's a lot of us that would have committed certain crimes, but for the fact that we would pay a price that we are not willing to pay. And so someday when child killing is made illegal again, as it must be, as it will be, or America will perish, it still might perish, and then whatever rubble heap is left, they'll make child killing illegal. Because the blood of these babies is crying out for vengeance, crying out for the judgment of God. When it is made illegal again, there will be a punishment attached. And it might be a crescendoing punishment. You know, there was a day in America, believe it or not, when it was not a crime to drink and drive. There was a time in American history when you could get behind the wheel of a car, totally sloshed, and try and drive, and it was not a criminal act. Just like you could get on your horse, stone drunk, fall off the horse, wasn't a crime. But now, over years, society has grown less and less tolerant, and now it's a crime. People go to prison for drinking and driving. And you hurt somebody while you're drinking and driving, and you're gonna go to prison, okay? And so why do we have laws like that? Because it makes people think twice before they get behind the wheel of a car after they've been drinking. It suppresses the number of people that will commit that evil act. That's why when child killing is made illegal again, there must be some penalty to be paid. Whatever it is, there must be some penalty to be paid. And John Kasich has shown himself to be treacherous, to be, he's not a practicing Catholic. He says he's Catholic. He's not practicing Catholic. Don't believe him, Catholics. Don't believe him. And Donald Trump got it right, and the pro-life groups around America were silent. Absolutely silent. All I could think of when I was off, not on the air live, all I could think of was, God, save us from our friends. God, save us from our friends. Friend, this program is supported by friends like you who believe in what we are doing. We run a very tight ship. Thankfully, we are on over 130 stations across the country, having tremendous impact. We get emails every day. We get letters in the mail, not every day, but almost every day. We hear from people who love what we're doing. What people don't understand is that it's sort of expensive to produce a television show like this. It doesn't require earth-shattering funds, but it does require financial help. So I am asking you, if you enjoy this program, throw us a $10 or a $20 bill every once in a while, or even a $50 or a $100 check. You see the address there on the screen. Your gifts are not tax deductible, by the way, because we want to be able to say what we want to say regarding politics without the IRS telling us no. So if you like the program, I ask for your support. All of us are sinners. We're all sinners. Think of King David, a man after God's own heart who committed murder, used the sword of his enemy to kill Uriah the Hittite, and then committed adultery with Bathsheba, took her as his wife. That was bad. It was really bad. Think of St. Peter, okay, the guy with the keys to the kingdom. He was with Jesus for 3 years plus. I'll never deny you. Then he denies with cursing and swearing. Denies to the Lord. Jesus, the one thing that Jesus said was going to get you in real trouble was, if you deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father and the angels of heaven. Peter did it. Okay? But these were good men. Randall, what's your point? We're all sinners. Good people can do bad things. Okay? But there are some people who they are what the Bible calls evildoers. They're not a David who sins and says, oh my God, what have I done? Lord, have mercy upon me. Lord, have mercy upon me through my fault, through my most grievous fault. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about somebody who runs a brothel, somebody who is an abortionist, a serial murderer, somebody, fill in the blank, okay? Fill in the blank. And that's what we're dealing with certain politicians. We're dealing with evildoers. We're dealing with, for example, Hillary Clinton, okay? God save the Christian. God forgive the Christian. God save us, please, whose mind is so messed up that they think that they can vote for someone like that for office. What are you talking about? Listen, if Hillary says she's going to keep killing babies, and you vote for her, you're giving her the power to keep killing babies. You're an accessory to her killing children. So, Hillary Clinton, to come back on point, Hillary Clinton is what the Bible calls an evildoer. All right? She is a pathological evildoer. I could stop with child killing. Just stop. But we'll just go on to the issue of marriage. Of the two sins that cry to God for vengeance, or rather of the four sins in the scriptures that cry to God for vengeance, the first two, the top two, are shedding of innocent blood and homosexual behavior. Okay? Those are the two sins that cry to God. God hasn't changed. The Supreme Court might have had an alteration of its ethical compass. All right? They might be lost. God's not lost. He has not changed. Okay? He is still merciful. He will forgive like he forgave David, like he forgave Peter. David got to still be king, and Solomon, his son, reigned after him. The second child of Bathsheba. Talk about redemption. Peter got to still be the leader of the church. Peter, do you love me? Yes, feed my sheep, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. That's redemption. That's forgiveness. Right? So we're not talking about whether or not somebody can be forgiven. We're talking about whether or not somebody is in continual, open defiance of God, who rejects the commandments of God. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about with Hillary Clinton. And she, again, Donald Trump got it right. Oh, pro-lifers, oh, Christians. Donald Trump's the only candidate in this entire election cycle that got it right and said you have to have a criminal punishment for a woman who kills her baby when it's illegal again. He got it right. Hillary, on the other hand, is saying, this is a war on women. I will protect the right to choose. That means that's code language for I will continue to shed blood. Okay? Continue to shed blood. She is what the Bible calls an evildoer. And God save, God forgive, God wake up the Christian who thinks that they can vote for her with a clean conscience. And oh, by the way, did you catch the news? I don't know if it's rumor mongering or not. I don't think it is. I hope it's not. But the news that Hillary had several of her own children killed, several abortions, according to the testimony of one of Bill Clinton's girlfriends. He told her. I don't think she's lying. He might have been lying to her. I don't think she's lying. She has no reason to lie. Look at Hillary Clinton and understand the difference between a Jezebel in the Bible, a Jezebel and a David. One has a heart after God, sins and repents and continues on. Jezebel is in open defiance of God, tries to kill the prophets of God, and ultimately brings all of Israel, as a part of bringing Israel under the judgment of God, and she is judged by God. Trust me, you can get behind a David. You better not get behind a Jezebel. I want to invite you to go to our website. Almost every book that I have ever written is available as a PDF online for free. We have a ton of products, training materials, tools that are available for you for free. All we ask for is that you give us your email address. That's it, so that we can stay in touch with you, and yes, from time to time, ask you to support this work. So I'm inviting you, go to the website. Now, for those of you who say, well, I don't want a PDF, I want a real book. You can get one of my books. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift you want. And if you can't afford anything, we'll send you the book for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Why are we doing all this? Because we want to change the direction of the country, and we need to raise up a fresh generation of warriors to do that. That's why we have this tool. I invite you, go to the website, see for yourself. Great leaders divide people. Great leaders are disruptors of the peace. It's true. George Washington. Most of the people in America were not in favor of the revolution. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they divided people. Martin Luther King caused enormous division and was condemned for it repeatedly. He's a divisive person. Why? Because he exposed the Jim Crow laws and the vileness of racism, and he caused division. So John Kasich has it 100% wrong. Play those two clips, would you? Play those clips.
There is great concern in the Republican Party that, frankly, if we get blown out in the fall, which I think we would with both Cruz and Trump, we would lose seats all the way from the State House to the courthouse. Great leaders don't divide people. Great leaders bring people together.
Ted Cruz sneered at our New York values.
You know, I think most people know exactly what New York values are.
Ted Cruz divides to get a vote. John Kasich unites to get things done. John Kasich for president.
All right, so there you go, back to back. Ted Cruz is a divider. By the way, Kasich's assertion in that commercial that we would lose from the governor's mansions to the courthouse, that is baloney, okay? Biasaloni. It's nonsense. Well, there is going to be such a sweep for the Republican Party. It's just a matter of how much can they screw things up, which they are prone to do. All right? There is such a repudiation of Obama's policies going on. Hillary might win the presidency. I don't think she will. But we are not losing anything, people. We are not. We are going to pick up seats. The Republican Party. I say we because I'm a registered Republican, all right? I've been a registered Democrat in the past. This is not about partisan. This is about policy, okay? It's about policy. And let me finish this show with this. Kasich is 100% wrong when he says great leaders don't divide people. Churchill was divisive. He was constantly divisive in the 1930s in England when he said Baldwin, MacDonald, Chamberlain, they're all wrong. They're all wrong. People hated him. He was considered divisive because he was saying the truth. If you are going to say the truth, you're going to be divisive. Well, but what about blessed are the peacemakers? Yes, there's times when you can bring warring parties together. It's true. But how can you bring together the Nazis and the Jews? How can you bring together someone who wants to kill people and someone who wants them to be alive? How can you bring together someone who wants to enslave people, like the Southern slave owners, and the blacks? How are you going to bridge that gap? John? Hey, Governor Kasich, wake up. There are certain things that are so divisive you cannot bring unity. You just can't. The only issue is who's going to win. And to prevail in the battles of right and wrong, that's what takes great leaders who are not afraid to be divisive until they are victorious.